Good afternoon. My name is Sam Bergamy, and as chairman of the University of New Haven Board of Governors, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the January 2012 commencement. Today we celebrate the achievements of our graduates and recognize their years of hard work, commitment, and sacrifice. We also applaud their families and friends for their support and encouragement. Welcome to you all. Please join me in recognizing the New Haven County Firefighters Emerald Society Pipe and Drum Corps, which have been gracing our commencement for many, many years now. They've done a wonderful job. And please stand and remain standing as Christine Tomarelli, a sophomore studying English and Communications, leads us in the singing of our national anthem. Please remain standing at the conclusion of the anthem as Martin J. O'Connor, our campus minister and member of Fire Science faculty, delivers the invocation.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
In a series of very moving poems entitled The Four Quartets, the poet T.S. Eliot suggests that in the end is our beginning. And so as our graduates stand at the end of one chapter in their lives and at the beginning of another, with hope and with promise, we offer our prayer. Good and gracious God, the source of all that is true and the giver of purpose and meaning to our world and to each of our lives, bless this day and every day. In the mystery of your loving presence, we live and move and have our being. Help us to grow in our love and service of you and one another. Open our eyes to see your presence among us. Open our ears to hear the sound of your call, so that our every act may be a sharing in the life that you have offered your people. Bless those who graduate this day. May they flourish in all that they do. Bless all of our students, our faculty, our staff, and all who support our wonderful university. Keep us always faithful to your summons to follow the truth, which in the end will bring us back to you. We make our prayer this day and every day to a tender and loving God. Amen.
Please be seated. Welcome. Thank you, Christina, for an incredibly stirring rendition of our national anthem, and Marty for your words of wisdom, insight, and inspiration. A few other individuals I'd like to acknowledge early on in the program because they're the ones responsible for this event being the success it always is. First and foremost, Jill Zamparo, who does all of the arrangements. along with Sylvia Hyde in the Provost's office. I would like to, of course, thank our two signers for the hard work they'll do during this ceremony. And I'd like to thank all of the faculty and staff who volunteer for this wonderful event. Please join me in giving them a round of applause. I'm Steve Kaplan. I'm the president of the University of New Haven. On behalf of the university, its faculty, staff, and Board of Governors, welcome graduates of the class of 2012, your parents, your family members, your friends, and all of our guests. It's wonderful to have you here. I am proud and privileged to celebrate the culmination of our graduates' education at the University of New Haven. The word commencement, as we're reminded on such occasions, means a beginning. We gather today to wish our graduates well as they embark on new beginnings, new journeys. Some of our graduates began that journey 2 years ago. Others have been with us for 4, and some even longer. I was one who was on the 6-year plan, so there's no reason to feel guilty if you're not on the 4 or 2-year plan. All of you, regardless of the length you've been here, the length of time, has successfully navigated the crucible of higher education, and we trust have emerged stronger, wiser, and certainly better equipped to lead productive lives as professionals and community leaders. We honor what all of you have accomplished, and we acknowledge the potential that lies within each and every one of you. Let me briefly share a few of the stories of this class of 2012. Masid Dunica, a system engineering major, was one of 2 UNH students to secure a Nassau, Connecticut space internship. Through this internship, Masida worked in the research and engineering department at Sikorsky Aircraft, where she helped develop process improvement tools. Jimmy Rivas Torres, receiving a BS in computer engineering, was one of 2 students who helped build a thought-controlled robotic vehicle to demonstrate the feasibility of developing a wheelchair to serve patients with severe disabilities. Jimmy was also a baseball standout and earned a spot on the Northeast 10 all-academic team. We have a mother and daughter graduating together in this class today. Barbara Conroy, the accounts payable manager at UNH, is graduating with her MBA, while her daughter, Christina Ray Conroy, is receiving her MS in education. After starting a successful career as a scientist and sales representative in the pharmaceutical industry, Michael Basso decided to take his career in a new direction. Today, he is graduating with his MBA, and he recently accepted a job offer to work at the Big Four accounting firm, Deloitte. And finally, Sarah Hosford, a past president of the Green Team at UNH, is graduating today with her BS in environmental science and biology. During the fall semester, she participated in a national geomorphology symposium, which included a visit to the Gulf Coast area in Mobile, Alabama, to explore the effects of recent hurricanes. These are, of course, a few of many, many stories that we celebrate today. Would all of those students who have been recognized please rise and allow us to recognize you with a round of applause? Thank you. And now, let me ask all of the graduating students to please rise and be recognized for their efforts and achievements. Thank you. And students, would you please now give your round of applause to the faculty, staff, family, friends, all that have helped support you during the time you've been at UNH. It's your turn. And now I would like all of the faculty and staff who are present to stand and be recognized. Faculty, staff. At this time, I would like to recognize our three distinguished guests, recipients of honorary degrees from the University of New Haven, and therefore honorary members of the class of 2012. Robert Dillenschneider. Bob. Jody Pico, and Mayor John Picard. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, Jody Pico. You'll hear more about Jody when we present her with her degree. Now, briefly, most of you know Jody is an award-winning, very best-selling author of 18 novels, as well as the co-founder and director of the Trumbull Hall Troupe, a teen theater group in New Hampshire that raises money for charities in the United States and abroad. We are honored to have her with us as our commencement speaker. Please join me in welcoming the 2012 January commencement speaker, Jody Pico.
President Kaplan, distinguished faculty, parents, family members, and graduates, thank you for letting me share this momentous occasion with all of you. It means a great deal to me to be asked to speak at a school where education is not just something to be poured into its students, like a vessel, but instead is meant to be experiential. It's an honor to stand in front of graduates who have demonstrated tenacity and persistence during their time here, and I'm not just talking about finding a parking spot in the commuter lots. Being here is also a little nostalgic for me. After all, you can't give a graduation speech without thinking of your own college graduation. 25 years ago, when I left Princeton University, I really didn't know what my future held in store. I was nervous about abandoning the cocoon of college life. I had no idea how my degree in English and creative writing was going to magically turn into rent money. I remember standing in my dorm room thinking, am I going to make it in the real world? Just give me a sign. Suddenly, I was distracted by a loud hum that shook the windows of my dorm room. I glanced outside. The green where my ceremony was about to be held was covered with a swarm of cicadas. Guests held umbrellas to keep the insects from falling into their hair and their laps. The huge bugs crunched beneath our shoes. They landed with a thwack on our mortarboards, and they buzzed at such a deafening decibel level that even if I had been paying attention to the graduation speaker, I couldn't have told you what he said. I had asked for a sign, and I got one, a plague of locusts. It was just as I'd suspected. Graduation was the end of the world. You, the graduating class of the University of New Haven, are already leagues ahead of where I was back then. First, you've been smart enough to graduate in January, when the odds of a locust invasion are considerably diminished. Second, you have chosen an education that isn't just theoretical, but practical. When I was a student, there were no Wall Street simulation rooms or mock crime labs. Many of you are not strangers to the real world, but have done double duty, working or raising a family as you continue your studies. But it is not what you've learned in your classrooms here that qualifies you to step into your future. It's how you have learned, with resourcefulness, passion, and enthusiasm. The way you have approached every task that has led to the diploma you received today is the way you will approach every challenge ahead of you. Graduating, as it turned out, was not the end of the world. It was a beginning. And as a professional storyteller, I know all about beginnings. I can also tell you that no one wants to read a plot where nothing happens. When the protagonist is handed everything he wants on a silver platter, when he always gets the girl, when he never encounters an arch rival, well, it's boring. What keeps us coming back for another chapter is conflict. Readers want to see the hero earn his success, and that means facing obstacles. It's scary to think of what tomorrow may bring. The story of your life is going to be full of twists, turns, red herrings, maybe even locusts. But the odds are in your favor. because of the tools with which this university has equipped you. You'll slay the dragons, which may take the form of a tough job market, student loan debts, a health crisis, a family problem. That's how character is developed, and that's how you reach a happy ending. Now, I know what you're saying. Sure, Jody, that's easy for you to say. You're a best-selling novelist. True, but 25 years ago, I was just a kid trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. Although I wanted to be a writer more than anything else, I knew the likelihood of this dream coming true was about as likely as Bill Gates filing for bankruptcy. After all, who do you know, really, who becomes a successful writer? Nonetheless, I had chosen a college that would allow me to study creative writing. During my junior year, my professor handed me back a short story that I'd edited about 7 times and told me to do something with it. Do something with it? I thought. Do what? After all, I'd been writing it for an assignment. Send it to 17 magazine, she suggested. Well, I was a poor college student. I didn't have enough money to buy the magazine, so instead I looked up the name of the editor on the masthead at a newsstand and mailed my short story off. 3 months later, that editor phoned. She wanted to publish the short story and pay me. This was remarkable, because frankly, I would have paid her to get it published. I called my mother and said, "I'm going to be a writer." She was quiet for a moment. "That's great," she said. "Who's going to support you?" I took this advice to heart. When I graduated, my first job was not a novelist. It wasn't even in publishing. Instead, I went to work on Wall Street, although I didn't know how to balance my checkbook. I spent 16 hours a day writing bond offering circulars for Standard & Poor's and Moody's. I hated it, but I was earning enough money to live in a flea bag apartment in Hoboken instead of my parents' basement. Yet in my time off, I started to write a novel. When the stock market crashed and I received a severance package, I bought a car and moved to Massachusetts, taking a job as a business textbook editor because clearly 3 months on Wall Street qualified me to know all about business. I used to pretend I was swamped with work, but I'd get it finished before 10 a.m., and then I would close the door and write my novel. Months later, I had switched jobs again, this time to a 2-person ad agency where I was the second person. My primary responsibility involved keeping my boss's wife from finding out about his affair with the freelance art director. From there, I taught creative writing at a private school, got a master's in education, taught 8th grade English at a public school, got married and pregnant, and the whole time, I continued to write that novel. Are you seeing a trend here? It was only when I knew I'd be staying home with my infant son that I gave in and admitted to myself what I really wanted to do, what I really needed to do, was write. It wasn't until I started doing what I loved to do that success followed. And so, in the spirit of 2020 hindsight, I'd like to tell you what I've learned in the 25 years since I was sitting, like you, at a graduation ceremony. If you really want to succeed, dream big. I stand before you not as the Wall Street analyst I expected to be, but as the writer I am, living proof that the unlikely can happen. The people in this world who make a difference are the ones who are led by their hearts. If you want to live an extraordinary life, you have to color outside the lines of conformity. President Kaplan shared with me the story of a University of New Haven graduate, Shelley Frank, who wanted to start a little Mexican restaurant in Columbus, Ohio. Unfortunately, he discovered that in the Midwest in the 1970s, people were afraid of Mexican food, and his business was going bankrupt. Instead of quitting, he started leaving flyers on cars saying that his favorite restaurant was giving out free food. Within 10 years, Chi-Chi's was a $700 million company with 225 restaurants in the US and Europe. It is considerably riskier to throw your hat into the ring of publishing or entrepreneurship or professional sports or any other unlikely career than it is to get a desk job. But you will never wind up staring in the mirror 20 years later, wondering what would have happened if you'd been brave enough to try. If you really want to succeed, don't confuse fame with making a name for yourself. You grew up in the era of YouTube and Paris Hilton and Lindsay Lohan, a time when you could become a household name for having octuplets or for singing hideously off-key on American Idol. 15 minutes of fame is very different from leaving one's legacy behind in a meaningful way. And like everything else that really matters, that needs to be earned instead of freely given. A novelist isn't quite as recognizable as a movie star, but we do have our moments of recognition. The first time I realized I had celebrity status was when I was in a public restroom and a woman passed a book to me under the stall asking if I'd sign it for her. I asked if maybe I could wash my hands first. I have been recognized in airports, in Times Square, in a spa sauna, and most often at my local supermarket when I haven't washed my hair and I'm wearing sweatpants. Moments of celebrity are fun, but as my husband points out, when the girl selling tickets at the movies recognizes me, you still have to pay for your seats. It's nice to have a total stranger want to take a picture with you, sure. But it means a great deal more to hear from a suicidal teenage girl who reads my book, The Pact, and who decides instead to tell an adult that she's depressed and needs help. Or to get a letter from a kid who's been bullied his whole life, who reads 19 Minutes and realizes he's not alone. Be a light in the world, but not just so you can say you're the brightest. Do it so you become a beacon for those who can't see where they're headed. If you really want to succeed, be prepared to sweat. You grew up in a world where dial-up internet was too slow and gave way to broadband. You live in an era of sound bites and fast food. It literally goes against everything you've experienced to wait patiently for a reward because you've always had immediate gratification. When I was starting out as a writer, I had over 100 rejections. Nowadays, writers can self-publish on the internet, bypassing all that nasty negative feedback and disappointment. But people who self-publish also find that having a book in print isn't everything they'd hope for. They may have a book, but they don't have readers. And without a publisher promoting them, they can't find a market. What this example suggests is that sometimes it's okay to do things the old-fashioned way, even though that may be harder, riskier, more time-consuming. Did you know that Walt Disney went bankrupt with his first cartoon? That the TV show Seinfeld was on the verge of being canceled after its first season? That the business plan for FedEx, when it was first presented at Yale, got a C because the professor thought it wasn't possible? Opportunity grows out of failure like dandelions through cracks in the pavement. One of the best lessons you will ever learn is to pick yourself up again. But in order to do that, you have to stumble. If you really want to succeed, don't let anyone tell you what to think. I learned this lesson firsthand several years ago after one of my novels was chosen by a New Hampshire high school as part of its English program. The Pact is about teen suicide. I was invited to give a reading, and when I was in the auditorium doing just that, a parent stood up holding the novel. "This is smut and trash," she announced, "and I'm going to the school board to get it removed from the curriculum." I was stunned. Nothing like this had ever happened to me before. When you're a writer, you put your opinions into the world, but there's a buffer zone, namely your book. My heart was pounding, my hands were shaking, but I looked at the audience. "Well," I said, "I don't think my book is smut or trash. And I think you should go to the school board if you want. But I hope if they choose to cut the Pact from the curriculum, they ban other writings about teen suicide. And I'm sure when Romeo and Juliet is removed, Shakespeare will not complain." Since then, several of my novels have been banned by school districts. My Sister's Keeper was one of the top 10 challenged books of 2010. It's quite heady to be part of a club that includes J.K. Rowling, Mark Twain, Maya Angelou, and Toni Morrison. But at the time, it made me ask myself if maybe I shouldn't be writing these kinds of books. I don't write about thorny issues for the shock value. I do it to make my readers think hard about problems most of us would like to pretend don't even exist. Once people tell you what you should or shouldn't read, it's a short leap to being told what to do and what to say. I encourage you to find someone whose opinion is different. Instead of telling him he's wrong, grab a cup of coffee and start a conversation. If you want to open someone else's mind, start with your own. If you really want to succeed, know that actions have consequences. Think twice before you tweet pictures of bare body parts. Don't spit your gum on the ground. Remember that words are sharper than any knife, and their wounds don't heal. Karma has a way of sneaking up on you when you least expect it. If you treat a girl like dirt, one day you'll be treated that way. If you step on people as you scramble to the top of the corporate ladder, you better not expect them to give you a hand up if you fall. And remember that inaction is an action too. If you see someone being mistreated and you don't stick up for the victim, you're no better than the bully. And most of all, if you want to succeed, don't forget to slow down. Lily Tomlin, the comedian, said that the trouble with being in the rat race is that even if you win, you're still a rat. Once, I was rushing to get my middle son to nursery school on time when he told me to pull over. He was 4. I figured he had to pee or throw up. But instead, he pointed to the telephone pole wires, and he said that the space between them looked like giant canoes. You know what? He was right. You have all worked diligently for years toward this ceremony, and I bet you haven't had much of a chance to notice the wires on telephone poles lately. Your lives have been so focused on the destination that you may have forgotten to look out the window during the journey. There's a Chinese proverb that says, tension is who you think you should be. Relaxation is who you are. So make time for that. Build a snowman. Play Frisbee. Learn to juggle. Find the best coffee in your town. Don't lose sight of small wonders. You'd be surprised at how much you're missing. Today, you are being turned loose into a world that is imperfect. If this were a perfect world, my AT&T phone wouldn't drop calls. Bags of potato chips would be filled to the top, not halfway. If this were a perfect world, the Patriots would have a lock on winning the playoffs. If this were a perfect world, I would never run out of milk or lose a sock in the wash. If this were a perfect world, there would be no red states or blue states. No one would be hurt or hungry or lost or threatened. No, this is not a perfect world. But that's not a detriment. It's a chance. I dare you to make the world better by leaving it a kinder, gentler, cleaner, clearer place than when you found it. You have the chance to correct all the mistakes made by your parents' generation. You could be the generation that ends bullying in schools, that gives gay couples equal rights to get married and start a family, that stops genocide and hunger. Those are huge undertakings, but the way to move a mountain is one pebble at a time. So take the knowledge and experience you've accumulated here at the University of New Haven and spread the psychic wealth. Teach someone something: math, cooking, kindness, peace. Be the dissenting opinion. Ask why at least 10 times a day. As your esteemed professor, Dr. Henry Lee, has said, forensic science is used not to predict the future, but the past. The same could be said of a college degree. You can study all of the moments leading up to this one and still not be sure of where you will be 10 years from now. But then again, don't be surprised if the brass ring you are trying to grab keeps morphing. Success is defined differently when you're 18, when you're 28, when you're 48, when you're 88. What you want changes. Yesterday, it may have been an A on your final. In a few years, it may be good health. In several decades, it may be the happiness of your children. This uncertainty is a double-edged sword. It's what made me freak out the day I graduated from college. It's what makes you worry whether you'll get a job or find someone to spend your life with. But it's also what makes life thrilling. There is no predictable end to the adventure on which you are about to embark. The plot of your future might turn in directions you never imagined. But it is ultimately your tale to tell. You are tomorrow's doctors and lawyers and teachers and parents, doers and thinkers and planners and mediators. You are the direction of this country. So go out there and write the next chapter of your lives. I know I speak on behalf of your parents, your friends, your families, and your professors when I say that I'm looking forward to the stories you have to tell. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jody. As Vice Chairman of the University's Board of Governors, I have the privilege of presenting Jody Picot for an honorary degree. Jody Picot, renowned author, social commentator, creative philanthropist. Your best-selling novels shed light on the human condition and urge us to think about society's most pressing issues. Several of your stories have appeared on the silver screen, and some 14 million copies of your books are in print worldwide, published in 40 languages and in 42 countries. Your work has earned you numerous literary awards in the United States and abroad. Your novels explore such issues as gay rights, religion, stem cell research, eugenics, child abuse, bullying, and medical ethics, all of which you weave skillfully into the complex tapestries of family life. Your 2010 novel, House Rules, features a gifted teenager afflicted with Asperger's syndrome who aspires to become a forensic scientist. This character, Jacob, happens to idolize the University of New Haven's very own Dr. Henry C. Lee. A graduate of Princeton and Harvard, you have served as a technical writer, an ad agency copywriter, a textbook editor, an 8th grade English teacher, and even a comic book writer. Along your journey, you have steadfastly pursued your writing passion, which began at age 5 with your story, The Lobster Which Misunderstood. As the co-founder of the Trumbull Hall Troupe, you direct a teen theater group in New Hampshire that performs original musicals you have co-written. The troupe raises funds for orphans in Africa, for local families with ailing children, and for the homeless, among other worthy causes. Jody Picot, for your spectacular success as a novelist of the highest caliber, your many contributions to national conversations on the important issues of our day, and your philanthropic activities that inspire youth to give of themselves, the University of New Haven is indeed pleased to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Mr. President, Jody Picot has been duly recommended by the selection committee to receive an honorary degree from the University of New Haven. I now ask you to bestow upon her the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa.
Jody Picot, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the University of New Haven's Board of Governors, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Kaplan moves to X marked spot on center stage. As chairman of the university's Board of Governors, oops.
There he goes again, stepping on my lines. But as he was saying, as chairman of the University of Governors, I have the privilege of presenting the Honorable John Picard for an honorary degree. John? And I will read the citation. John M. Picard, public servant, visionary leader, dedicated volunteer, an exemplary graduate of the University of New Haven. You have served West Haven's community with passion and pride and made our city a better place to live and to work. As mayor of West Haven for the last 6 years, you have led efforts to foster economic growth, to improve our schools, to beautify our city, and to preserve and cherish our shoreline. You turned around a city's financial quagmire that you inherited and reduced its sizable debt, putting the city on a firm path of financial solvency. You played a key role in convincing the state legislatures to build a greatly needed train station in West Haven and have worked tirelessly to ensure that its construction remained on track. You steadfastly supported the Engineering and Science University Magnet School, a collaboration with the University of New Haven that will promote science, technology, engineering, math, and education among the youth and incubate a new generation of ideas, inventions, and ingenuity. And you ensure the sanctity of our shoreline through a conservation easement protecting Savin Rock and Bradley Point from private ownership and commercial development. A champion of higher education's role as an economic driver, you have nurtured mutual beneficial partnerships involving the university and area businesses. You have supported Yale's West Campus and the University of New Haven's continuous expansion and development. And you've helped spearhead Allingtown's Neighborhood Development Coalition, aiming to revitalize our West Haven neighborhood by engaging community organizations, academia, government agency, private industries in a collective effort to enhance our environments. Recognizing your achievements and the city's renaissance, in 2009, Business Week magazine named West Haven the best place in Connecticut to raise your kids. Your commitment to public service is matched by your zeal for community involvement. An active leader and volunteer, you lend your talents to many causes and have led fundraisers for the American Heart Association and the American Diabetes Association. John M. Picard, for your outstanding contributions to our city and its residents, for your unflagging belief in higher education and its potential to improve lives, and your inspirational leadership of the community organizations, the University of New Haven is pleased to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Business honoris causa. Mr. President, the Honorable John Picard has been duly recommended by the Selection Committee to receive an honorary degree from the University of New Haven. I now ask that you bestow upon him the degree of Doctor of Business honoris causa.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by our Board of Governors, I confer upon you, John Picard, the degree of Doctor of Business honoris causa. Congratulations. I now have the privilege of presenting Robert Dillenschneider for an honorary degree. Bob? Robert L. Dillenschneider, communicator extraordinaire, problem solver, volunteer leader. As principal of the Dillenschneider Group and an acknowledged guru of public relations, you have helped countless organizations tell their stories and connect with their constituencies. Your wise counsel has resolved crises facing corporations, trade associations, educational institutions, regulatory agencies, labor unions, and consumer groups. Since 2005, you have endeavored to bring the University of New Haven national and international media attention, often in a volunteer capacity, and have assisted the university as it strengthens its brand and academic reputation. A shaper of public opinion, you are sought by major media outlets for your perspective on current events. Through your 14 books and numerous keynote speeches, you have advocated for the middle class and job creation, the pursuit of stricter business ethics, the support of our military men and women, for the power of new technology to advance communications, and the sanctity of the English language. Your enduring commitment to advancing the field of public relations has earned you countless accolades. The United States House of Representatives issued a proclamation recognizing your, quote, influence on the representation of historic events on the world's stage. Your alma mater, Ohio State, honored you with its Distinguished Alumni Award for a lifetime, quote, for a lifetime of extraordinary accomplishments in the fields of communications. And New York City bestowed upon you its Big Apple Award for your efforts to promote that great city. A tireless volunteer and community leader, you serve on the boards of several organizations, including the Center for Strategic and International Studies, the New York chapter of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, the Institute of International Education, the American Lung Association's President's Council, the Council on Foreign Relations, the U.S.-Japan Business Council, the Economic Clubs of New York and Chicago, the Public Relations Society of America, and the International Public Relations Association. Robert L. Dillenschneider, for your path-breaking contributions to the field of public relations, your steady counsel to America's leaders in the throes of crises, and for your volunteer leadership of numerous nonprofit organizations, the University of New Haven is pleased to confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. By virtue of the authority vested in me by our Board of Governors, I hereby confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Congratulations, Bob. No one recognizes more than I do the vital role that family plays in the achievement of successful leaders. The individuals we celebrate here today, Jody Pico, Robert Dillenschneider, and John Picard, are beholden to their families and the support of those families that they have been given that have allowed each of them to reach great heights in their careers. On behalf of the university, I am pleased to recognize Jan Dillenschneider and Tara Picard, who have joined us today. Would the two of you please come forward to the stage to be recognized? Tara and Jen. David?
As Provost, I have the privilege of acknowledging the Honor Scholars. Will the Honor Scholars please stand at your seats as your name is read? Victoria L. Buttrick, B.A. Psychology and B.S. Criminal Justice. Ryan D. Hankard, Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice. Ashley N. Hertzman, Bachelor of Science, Forensic Science. Sarah R. Hosford, Bachelor of Science, Biology and Bachelor of Science, Environmental Science. Daniela Santos Montez, Bachelor of Science, Criminal Justice. And Jesse M. Simpson, Bachelor of Arts, History. These students were selected on the basis of their scholarship, character, and professional potential. And they have all completed an honors thesis, a major research project written under the direction of a faculty advisor. Please join me in congratulating this year's Honors Scholars.
I would now like to introduce Scott Kazar, the president of the Undergraduate Student Government Association and a senior majoring in fire administration and arson administration. Scott?
Thank you, President Kaplan. It's an honor to be here today among our highly distinguished faculty and staff, our guests, your family and friends, and obviously to address the class of 2012. It's funny. I had a speech written about 2 weeks ago. I had it reviewed, and I was all set to go. And last night I decided to throw it out and write a new one. And the reason being is because, I've had a couple events that happened lately, and in a short few months, I'll be sitting in the same seat that you're all sitting here today. And I'll be honest, I'm definitely a little scared. I didn't think I would be, but I am. I'm really good at being a college student. That's all I know. I love UNH. I work at the rec center. I love student government. It's fun. So it's hard to say goodbye and to kind of go out and really not sure, knowing where you want to go, but not sure where you'll end up. So many questions come to mind. Am I going to get married? Am I going to have kids? Does anybody even like me? So it's so scary out there, but it was only a couple days ago that, one, I really finally figured out what I want to do for the rest of my life, which is probably the greatest accomplishment I've ever achieved here at college. And the second thing is, as cliche it is, it's okay to be a little scared, but I can guarantee that I, as well as all of you, will succeed one way or another, as long as you stick to your goals and work hard. There's no saying no, and it's a guarantee as long as you stick to it. But the one thing that I do learn a lot is that you're going to make mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes. I'm a little clumsy. Just 30 seconds ago, if you didn't see, I ripped my tassel off my hat. Luckily, I got it on before I came up here, but it's the little things like that, that you learn to appreciate. And you'll make some bigger mistakes that I've done, but you'll make some greater accomplishments that'll counteract that. And I think that everybody has a little bad inside of them, but it's what you do with that feeling. Like, if I trip him right now, he won't get that hurt, just a little scratch. But it's more of that, how you take that feeling and you put it aside and, you go about your way and you live each day as to make it a little bit better. Because that's what we're all here for, to figure out what we can do to make ourselves happy, but while we're doing it, make a couple other people happy as well. And I think probably one of the most important things that I've learned, also as Jody Pico said, is kind of slow down and take a couple pit stops in life. I'm sure most of you have a bucket list, if you will, of things you want to do or intend to do. So, you should go out and do one of those. And while you're doing one of those, write a couple more down. Because you never know, if you're going to be able to do those. You don't want to be the man or woman that had left mountains of what they intended to do tomorrow. So, don't get a lazy boy and sit in front of the TV. Go out and cross off a couple off your bucket list. Create those more memories. And you can also cross off graduating off your list now. In a short few months, I will as well. So, congratulations to you guys all. I wish you the best of luck. And to the most important, I wish you all the happiness in the world. Congratulations.
Thank you, Scott. That was wonderful. I'm glad you decided to improvise and share your feelings. I can tell you, my wife Anamona and I, who's joining us today, have 4 children. We're very proud of them. They're all very successful. But the one of the 4 that, like all of you, when she graduated, also felt a little nervous about the world, that has an advantage over her brother and 2 sisters, is the one that graduated on this stage 3 years ago from the University of New Haven. My point is, while you might be a little nervous, you've got an edge over most people because you're UNH graduates. So keep that in mind. I would now like to introduce Ahmed Abdulal, who is the Vice President of the Graduate Student Council and is currently pursuing a master's degree in industrial engineering and business administration.
Thank you, President Kaplan. It's such a great honor to be here today representing the graduate students in such a memorable day. I would like to tell a small story of my past experience that was also related to the reasons behind my return to school. Before I came to the University of New Haven to attend graduate school, I worked as a field engineer at an oil company in Egypt. I used to work with a driller who was very good at what he did, who was very old, and he must have had decades of experience to get to where he was. He was at his career's peak, and he had his own crew, which he used to command. But he only had basic education. He never went to college. We became kind of close, and I used to help him with learning English. Back then, I expected a person like him, with such experience and such success, to deny the importance of school, especially that it didn't help him to get where he is. But I was amazed one day while I was helping him when he said to me that he wished he could be in my position. He said that I had a privilege to attend college that he wished he had. He said that my head was enlightened. That was how he put it. He meant that I was well educated. He said, what school did to you makes you a lot better than I am. I may have tens of years of experience, but look, it took me so long to get this position. I have struggled a lot, and my challenges were just too hard, but for a person like you, you can gain the experience I have in just a few years and be able to build on it. In a few years, you can be in my position, and you can even reach management faster than anyone else who didn't get a college education. I realized that work experience actually made me value education more than I used to when I was at undergrad school. I was still too young to appreciate it. And this is true for a lot of experienced professionals with successful careers, as I have seen in my graduate classes. I have met graduate students who were at the same age as that brother, and they appreciated the value of pursuing theoretical knowledge even at such age. I'm sure that each one of you have received compliments about his or her school achievements. The fact is, they weren't compliments as much as they were simply the truth. We do have a privilege to be here and now have gained a tremendous advantage over others. Life is not going to be easy after school, and you want to return home today holding your diplomas to find prosperity and success knocking on your doors. There will be challenges, but what we gain here at grad school prepares us for whatever challenges we may face. You might not realize it because you don't think of it, but every hour you spend at school solving cases, doing presentations, and everything else that comes with college affects your performance and your ability to surpass many boundaries at work. Especially here at UNH, where everything is about experiential education. As a result, we have developed a greater ability to analyze, communicate, and most importantly, to think. This is extremely important these days, where the world is growing tougher and tougher for everyone, and you will be competing with a lot of people for a job, but you have what it takes, because your heads are enlightened. Last, I want to say that you should all be proud of yourselves, and on behalf of the Graduate Student Council, we are all proud of you, and we're very thankful for your participation in our events. And personally, I'm going to miss all my friends who are graduating today. I know my very first roommate is graduating today, and my project partner is graduating today too, and some of my good and best friends. Congratulations, everyone, and thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the president of the University of New Haven's Alumni Association, Joe Donahoe. Joe received his MS in Fire Science from UNH in 2004. Mr. Donahoe will welcome you to your new and duly earned status as alumni of the University of New Haven. Joe?
President Kaplan, members of the Board of Governors, members of the faculty, honorees, family, and friends, good afternoon. To the university class of 2012, congratulations. Let me begin by expressing my sincere and deep appreciation I have for this university. As I enter my final laps as president of the Alumni Association, I've begun to reflect on the last 5.5 years of service on the Alumni Board of Directors and further back to my years here on campus. It may look a little old to you, but believe me, 2004 wasn't that long ago. President Kaplan remarked earlier on the 2 and the 4, the 6-year plan. Well, I was on a 21-year plan. My wife, eventually my children, let me spend 21 years attending college at 5 institutions. From 1983 to 2004, I commuted to 4 Connecticut schools and lived at 1 in the Midwest. I wanted to volunteer for another degree, but my wife informed me that I was not volunteering. The paper I collected was not free. She implored me to volunteer at a college by doing something that doesn't cost so much money. Obviously, I had choices, about 5, on where to volunteer. At UNH, I was fortunate to find an incredible program with experienced and caring faculty, incredibly dedicated students that were very focused, like yourselves, and an impeccable reputation here in Connecticut, the United States, and even around the world. The decision was easy for me, and I became more involved in UNH. That decision has led me to you today. Serving on the board of directors is fun and so rewarding that I feel I've actually been in college now 29 years. The only difference between you and I is that you got it right the first time, and maybe, for all the graduate students, the second time. It didn't take you 4 graduations to get it right. So now I ask you to take the next step. Keep UNH and the Charger spirit close to you throughout your career and life. Help this institution become greater tomorrow than it is today. We gather this afternoon as a group of individuals who are different in many ways. Yet after today, we will no longer be as different. We will share something special and unique. We all will be UNH alumni. As a UNH graduate, you join a very exclusive group, dedicated like no other, to making the world a safer, more secure, more efficient, a better place. For me, that is the essence of Charger spirit. I encourage you to participate in UNH events and tell us how you are doing by connecting in person, online, and along with your fellow alumni. If there's anything that we can do to help you, just ask. On behalf of the 48,000-plus alumni of the University of New Haven, I offer my sincere congratulations on completing this incredible journey. We welcome your Charger spirit.
Thank you, Joe. Mr. President, the Provost, David Duwaller, will now present the candidates for academic degrees as a group, and the President will confer the academic degrees en masse. Once this has been completed, the respective Associate Provost, Dean, and Interim Deans will then present individual candidates to the President for the awarding of the diplomas. In the case of the graduate candidates, they will bestow academic hoods, which is an ancient insignia of academic accomplishments. Please hold your applause until after each reader completes the presentation of candidates. And we also request that the graduates and their families remain in their seats until the ceremony is over to show respect for all of those receiving degrees. Thank you.
Mr. President, I have the honor of presenting the candidates for academic degrees. As I designate each group, I ask that they rise and remain standing until their degrees have been conferred. First are the 321 candidates for degrees in the graduate school. For the Master of Arts, we have 12 candidates. Will those 12 candidates please stand? For the Master of Business Administration and its executive program, we have 89 candidates for graduation. Will those 89 individuals stand? For the Master in Public Administration, we have 4 candidates. Will those 4 candidates please stand? For the Master of Science, we have 216 candidates. Will those 216 candidates please stand? Next are the 151 candidates from the academic colleges of the university. From the College of Arts and Sciences, for the Bachelor of Arts, 21 candidates. Will those 21 candidates please stand? And also from the College of Arts and Sciences, we have 21 candidates for the Bachelor of Science. Will you please stand? From the College of Business, for the Bachelor of Science, 48 candidates. Please stand. From the Tagliatella College of Engineering, for the Bachelor of Science, 13 candidates. Will you please stand? And from the Henry C. Lee College of Criminal Justice and Forensic Sciences, for the Bachelor of Science, 48 candidates. Will you please stand? These candidates have completed their prescribed courses of study, have been examined and recommended by the faculty. Mr. President, I now ask you to confer on these candidates the respective degrees for which they have qualified.
By the authority vested in me by our Board of Governors, I hereby confer on each of you the degree for which you have been recommended and admit you to the rights, honors, and responsibilities of educated men and women. Congratulations. Please be seated. During the presentation of the diplomas to the students, you will note that a diploma may be presented to a student by a parent or friend who is also a member of the UNH community. This is a UNH tradition and a special act which signifies for us the binding together of all our university constituencies. Today we are also honored to be joined by Charles Pompey, an emeritus member of our Board of Governors, whose name coincidentally is on this wonderful gymnasium, who will present a Bachelor of Arts degree to his daughter, Sarah Jane Pompey.
Mr. President, Professor O'Connor and I now have the great pleasure to introduce the individual candidates from the graduate school. Barbara Jean Conroy. Norman I. Graham.
Peng Li.
Shami Abdullah Alamsari.
Daniela Nati.
Caitlin Christine Flynn.
Firdas Chalani.
Chun Shu.
Zachun Yuan.
Jineng Li.
Mo Li.
Yao Yue Xing.
Xiaoquan Wang.
Xiao Du.
Xiang Sheng.
Zheng Wu. Ruby Chavez.
Linda Flores. Rodney Irizarry.
Adam Teeley.
Richard Chari Jr.
Madison Soldano.
Tammy Nevapodos.
Amber Cosgrove Sherber.
Michelle Lee Escobar.
Amanda Papacoda.
Samantha K. Fournier.
Kelly Ann Wides. Tiffany Marie Rose.
Julie C. Larson.
Sarah Ann Smedick.
Darla Janet West.
Allison Pittman.
Casey Launder.
Stacy Marie Puglia.
Kevin Neely.
John Bishop Worcester.
Donald Edmund Auger Jr.
Carlos A. Antunes.
Jania L. Dew.
Jennifer Lynn Mitchell.
Benjamin W. Llewellyn.
Lindsay M. Basso.
Nakia Deanne Williams.
Betty L. Belko.
Manish Gupta. Francisco F. Vasquez.
Michael Vinton Pond.
Paul Douglas Jones, Jr.
Xiao Yi Shu.
Chang Liu.
Fei Shu.
Simone Wu.
Kylie Marie Tazara. Lisa Jean Putnam.
Deanna R. Langston.
Gail Eureka. Boy Yu Dung.
Marie Lagagnor.
John Shu.
Wang Shu.
Hong Ngok Nguyen.
Nidhi Patel.
Natalie J. Villanueva Cortez.
Suleiman Ipechi.
Duyugo Kayulu.
Kristen J. Nordine.
Neil B. Donahue.
Michael Koblish.
Esther Demi Akpotor.
Latasha Yvonne Archibald.
Larone V. Barham.
Catherine Grace Breller.
Shannon Gint Wantz.
Mary Elizabeth Woods.
Samantha P. St. Pierre.
Lonnie Avery.
Editor Tamulyanite.
Karim El Haddad.
Patrick Amadi.
Jerisha S. Gordon.
Susan Marie Anderson.
Elizabeth Binder.
Venus Razor Bennett.
Likuku J. Monango.
Ali Hisham Al Saif.
Allah Qassam Al Asif. That's Saif. I butchered that one.
Samar Atia Al Mazroe.
Bianca Fiondella.
Rachel Danielle Forza.
Lauren E. Eyre.
Christina Conroy.
Amy Elizabeth Tufano.
Kyung Lip Yu.
Stephanie Lauren Fida.
Kenneth Sergio Gonsalves.
Abdul Rahman Safar.
Nazar Al Junaid.
Abdul Rahman Al Jari.
Turki Mohammed Saeed M. Al Harbi. Yasser Ali Al Arabi.
Premsik Les Suri Yakul.
Azel Jantiva.
Presha Saipung.
Samantha L. Welch.
Vijay K. Menta.
Victoria Jukovsita.
Zamsam Chana.
Nigabo Simon Paul.
Adam Tulin.
Gwendolyn Nicole Daniels.
Mario A. Molina.
Daniel Santos.
Richard T. Slack.
Timothy Ryan.
Annette R. Selling.
Katrina Sonia Singer.
Christine Elizabeth Coutant.
Elias Richard Lopez.
Neusa C. Fernandez.
Jacqueline Ziegler.
Susanna Barum.
Bernadette Sands.
Evelyn Gonzalez.
Kayaris Boone.
Kelvin G. Jackson Jr.
Tianyi Wong.
Kei Zheng.
Ziyun Wong.
Zioxi Yu.
Cadian Forbes.
Sandra D. Ewan.
Rosemary Brown.
Sunsiri Cicero.
Edna V. Ferrero.
Tanya Holland.
Crystal Lynn Conti.
Stacy L. Ireland.
Jessica Ray Pettit.
Christina Domshine.
Courtney Ruth Hurst.
Marissa G. Tarquino.
Nicole Moon.
Tyson Lauren Carter.
Zachary S. Monroe.
Sarah C. Thiner.
Alyssa Ann Wycliffe.
Cynthia Catherine Gillis Barker.
Michelle A. Cote.
Dennis Rizzo.
Elizabeth Dorothea Costin.
Allison L. Rivera.
Stephanie Elise White.
Jennifer McLean.
Jennifer Dahlgren.
Michael P. Daly.
Kelly Elizabeth Russo.
Walter A. Carter.
Vanessa Liu.
Xuan He.
Su Chao Lee.
Naveed Savawi.
Rhonda Russell Luck.
Paige S. Jokel. Bradley James Parcella.
Daniel Aaron Barr.
Eric R. Dogolensky.
Allison Jane Champlin.
Maria Moesiedes.
Niarja Kasu.
Sun Shuing. That's okay. Shrojani Sibiwar.
Huang Shijui.
Colleen Dawn Zabo.
Maria Wolog Peavy.
Joyce Gullet Recchia.
Jeffrey Proventure.
Mohammed Alhaj Slyman.
Ramiz Mohammed Ed Hayel.
Marwan Elias Corey.
Tracy Ann Brennan. Delora Daniel.
Mohammed Amran Tibani.
Sandeep R. Sudaretti.
You're all set. Oh. Paulo Arenas.
Hao Guo.
Yu Li.
Si Chen.
Je Li Wang.
Jennifer Lentino.
David Williams.
Venkata Kartik Garipati. Sumanth Kanapuri.
Belum Bala Puloredi.
Kavin Bubalan Saktivel Sivikami.
Mira Kumari.
Amit Gautam.
Raji. Ali Raji.
Ali A. Dudu Alaldin. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in congratulating all of these worthy candidates.
Okay. I was going to read, make sure I was going to read. Okay. Mr. President, as Interim Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, it is now my pleasure to present the individual candidates for their degrees. Christian Savoy. Pamela L. Howell. Jessie Marie Simpson. Wayne Gates. Carl Leslie Billing, Jr. Eric Harrison Davis. Matthew L. Davis. Christine M. Daigle. Melanie Whitney Chop. Nicole Ray Faraday. Amy Elizabeth Bradley. Jennifer M. Gannett. Caitlin Margaret Johnson. Sarah Hosford. Nay Ka Jovian Andre. Seema Upal. Shanice McClaney. Sarah Jane Pompey. Monica Robin Lyons.
Mr. President, as Interim Dean of the College of Business, it is my pleasure to present the individual candidates for their degree. Hee Chin Kyu. Andrew Stephen Flores. Michael Barone. Renee Tomorrow. Jose Capua. Evan Anthony Barbin. Zachary Sampson. Veronica Samaniego. How you doing? Giuseppe Turco. Alexis Belen Malandondo. Dwayne Robinson. Daniel Evangelista. Tessa Ruggeri. Kenzo Murata. Sean McFadden. That's it.
Mr. President, as Dean of the Tagliata College of Engineering, I'm pleased to present these individual candidates for their degrees. Robert Edward Mazichko. Jimmy H. Rivas Torres. John Richard Howard II. Sean M. Tarak. Masid Dunika. Daniel A. Tomasino. Likat Ali Sarabi. Jeremy J. Wiseman. James V. DeMio.
Mr. President, as Interim Dean of the Henry C. Lee College of Criminal Justice and Forensic Sciences, it is my pleasure to present the individual candidates for their degrees. Victoria Lynn Buttrick. Stephanie Marie Kuharian. Sandoval, I know you. Monique Melinda Sandoval. Kristen Ann Grattan. Daniela S. Montez. Brian O'Donnell. Hey. Andrew David West. Ryan D. Hankard. Emily R. Triber. Do you do this stuff now or just Stefano? This one. Stephanie D. DeStefano. Amanda L. DeBase. James N. Stanko. Chow. Kim Yan Chow. Midowitz. Anna Adriana Midowitz. Alexandra J. Broder. Robert Thomas Burns, Jr. Kelly Brailsford. Lauren N. King. Shania A. Scott. Perlowitz. Mark W. Perlowitz. Ryan P. Clark. Seth D. Willocks. Christopher Kenneth Parrish. Hasabala? Stephen Adele Hasabala. Schmuel? Margaret Ann Schmuel. Shalonda R. Wright. Michal Al-Matawa. Ashley N. Hertzman.
Graduates, as the final act for these ceremonies, to symbolize your rite of passage into the community of scholars, please move the tassel on your mortarboard from right to left. Woo! Congratulations. A UNH commencement would not be a UNH commencement without my moving somehow off of the script and in some cases embarrassing someone. I would now like to ask Dr. Henry Lee to come up and make a few closing comments before I close the ceremony entirely. Dr. Lee. Woo! He won the Henry Lee.
Well, congratulations. I think you all sit long enough. Now you graduate, you're going to, just like Jody says, you kind of worry about, but don't worry about when I come to this country. I don't even speak English. And I only have $50 in my pocket. Now, after 40-some years, I still don't speak English, but I sure have a lot of money in my pocket. Good luck. Thank you very much.
I am pleased to invite all of you to join me immediately following the conclusion of the ceremony for a reception for our new graduates and their families and friends. This reception will be held in Bartels Hall, the campus center. Please follow the instructions or we're going to have a very difficult exit. The stage party leaves first, followed by the graduates, followed by our guests. And this now concludes the January Winter 2012 commencement. Thank you for joining us. And again, congratulations.